News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali on TV1.
And a very good evening to you and a warm welcome to Newsline. And my guest this evening is the President of the National Chamber of Exporters, Mr. Jayantha Karunaratne, and he's also a tea man himself. But good evening to you, Mr. Karunaratne. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for...
Now then, I know you are here in your capacity as the President of the National Chamber of Exporters of Sri Lanka. So you must be having a pretty good insight as to the challenges being faced by exporters. Everybody is talking about exports. You know, we have the dollar crisis. We still have the dollar crisis. And everyone says, oh, we must export more and more, export or perish. All that is fine. Nice cliches and all that. But what are the actual challenges your membership is facing?
Yes. Farhat, since 2020, we were having challenges to our industries and exports. Since 2020, the COVID started.
Yeah.
Then maybe after some time, I think 21 or 22, we have this economic crisis in the country.
Yeah.
So we are all industries and exporters are having enormous or many challenges. Now, during the COVID period, the entire global business changed. Our freight cost went up a lot.
Yes.
Our packing material cost went up a lot. And then, we had an issue with regard to tea, the crop failure, and also this fertilizer issue. Crop came down by about 20%. So we had many challenges. And also other exports, they're all having many issues. And then last year, the rupee, it's devalued more than 70%. And our cost went up with, the freight cost, the energy cost, electricity cost, all have changed. Our cost structure has changed. It is not only in Sri Lanka, globally, the things are changing. Many countries are having issues. Not only tea importers, the apparel importers, and they all having many issues. So it's a time where the entire global export industry or industries are changing. So we are facing this issue now. So different industries taking different paths or different methods to take it. But we all know we have to go forward. We are doing everything to fight, to keep our costs down, to meet the market, and to keep our supplies going, because even with under any circumstance or with all these problems, we did not stop shipping anything. We were continuing it, but the challenges are many. So we each industry is taking different steps to face these challenges.
As a tea person as well. What are the particular challenges your industry has faced? I mean, I know that your export figure from around a sort of comfortable 300 million kilos per annum has now gone down. So I think it's about 240?
250, yes.
250. So it's 50 million kilos down. And I don't know what the international average price is in dollars, but even if it's, I don't know, if it's $5, that's a lot of money. That's $250 million in a country that's struggling with our reserves and so on. So what particular challenges in the tea industry are you facing?
If we look at the tea industry, we have Sri Lanka tea exports earn about $1.1 to $1.3 billion annually. That was the figure we maintain. We have been kind of stagnant at that level. I don't think we are moving forward. But on top of that, we had a problem of this fertilizer issue, the banning of chemical fertilizer.
Yeah.
So crop came down to 250 million.
Yeah, but aren't you? I don't know about you, but and you have a great interest in the tea industry because you own a company, which you created. But from my point of view, when I look at these decision-making processes and so on, it is absolutely incredible that amateurs come here somehow and they ruin all the hard work done by professionals throughout the years. In one case, because somebody had a dream, glyphosate went out the window.
Yes.
Really, on the basis of a dream, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the new democratic world. But it's crazy.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it hit your pocket, it hit the country's coffers because of this very, very dodgy decision making.
Yes. Actually, the entire tea trade, that time I was the chairman, Colombo Tea Traders Association.
Yeah.
We all sectors of the tea industry, the growers, the factory owners, plantation companies, exporters, brokers, we all got together and went up to the president. We said, sir, please stop this. Please consider it again. We sent them a letter in writing. We wrote to the minister. We wrote to the chairman tea board. They were not listening to us at all. We kept on lobbying against it. And, we said that, it's a very, very bad decision for the entire industry. Actually, immediately the following year, crop came down almost 20%. Still, I think we can't recover. It will take few more years for us to come back to our usual volume. And, the tea industry, we were planning to take these volumes up to about 320 million.
But it now went the
now
reverse.
It got, but, it will take few years, maybe another 5-10 years to go
And in
back.
the meantime, the customer base there, they're getting used to other teas.
Yes, this is the danger we have. Other people realize the weakness of our industry. Some of our competitor countries, like India, they went all out and saying that Sri Lanka is out, so start buying our tea. And with these shortages, tea prices also went up. So the Indians came and they started selling, marketing at lower prices and getting people to use our tea. We lost some markets, but still, they want to buy our tea. But now they have got used to other teas.
Exactly, and that's a greater problem, isn't it?
It's a greater problem. They really marketed against Sri Lanka because they saw our problem, they saw our mistakes, they saw our weakness. They started selling. It's like this. Sri Lanka had, if I know tea trade since 1977, the UK was the biggest importer of Ceylon. Then it became Pakistan, then Egypt, then Russia. Now it has changed to maybe Iraq, Turkey, etc. Pakistan, they were buying our tea. They were the biggest importer at some stage. Kenyans got into that market because our prices went up so much. It was too high for them. They started drinking Kenyan teas as, substitute for tea. But now they got used to it. Even if we give our tea, the best teas at a lower price, they don't want to take our tea.
Because they
have got used to
palates got used to it.
Palates is now even UK, for that matter. They have got used to those teas. When people get used to the particular taste, it is difficult to change.
And what are the other challenges? I mean, what would you like the governments of the day, what can they do? Is there a lot of bureaucracy, the red tape? What should we do to ease the export journey?
Always, National Chamber, we talk of, ease of doing business in Sri Lanka. Because government should take their hands away from the business. The private sector can do, but they should do the monitoring part. There are certain things the government can do. the quality, the monitoring, fair play, that kind of thing, the role of the government. But they should take their hands away from the business. So that is one way they could help us. Because, if you start, putting in so many regulations that prevent entrepreneurship, we find it difficult to do businesses. So now take Dubai, they don't grow any tea, but they are one of the biggest exporter of tea in the Middle East, because they have no such controls. They import tea, they are free to pack, they have basic hygiene conditions, all those has to be maintained, but the government is looking after them, looking after those aspects. But people are free.
Get on with to do your business.
So I think ease of doing business is something the governments can do for us. Then, there are many other things. Last 2 years we cannot complain too much. We were not given permission to, import what is required. There were restrictions. We understand the problem. But I think those were, now at the moment, the exporters are not thinking of maybe medium to term to long term. We are thinking very short term. How do we survive this year? How do we survive next year? This is the kind of thinking of all exporters. We don't have 10-year plan or 20-year plan. So all industries are similar.
But and yields are down from the estates.
Because, they also, now fertilizer was stopped. There were no fertilizer for about one and a half years. So now fertilizer started coming in. It was very high. So people, only about 30% of the production is controlled by the plantation companies. 70% by the private smallholders. So, they don't, if they don't earn, they don't use fertilizer. Those are not really, they don't make use of it.
So it's counterproductive?
Very counterproductive. Unless they have a real income, they don't, use fertilizer.
So who in this whole supply chain, who's responsible for making sure the smallholders get fertilizer? There was a time fertilizer was not available. And then it started coming in. And at some stage it was very expensive. Indeed it was,
And then, then now it has come down. So now they have started using it. But, they are very expensive, and if they feel they are not making enough money, they don't do it. They drop it. But plantation companies are different. They are professionally managed. They know what they are doing. So they have budgets. They have maybe 2-3 year plans. So they manage it properly. So those are companies. But, that's a different, in this, the setup of, production methods used by these two people.
But and what about all this business about, the regional plantation companies? They've been given limited. I'm not articulating any position for them, but I'm just making a business point, which is that when you have a very short lease in relative terms, and it takes 5 years to get one bush to be in production state, then it's 5 years out of 30. It's a lot. Why do you think, in your view, is the government hanging on to, in a way, a non-productive asset? Because what's the good? They might as well give the people who are willing to develop it an extended lease.
I think those leases were given, as far as I can remember, about 30-year lease. It is expiring in few years' time. So I think it is high time now they give a more longer period lease
to relook at that.
Relook at it, and they should bring in more conditions to them, to do replanting, and to modernize factories, and to comply various.
Otherwise, we'll continue to live in a time warp.
Yes,
and we're in a danger of entering that time warp ourselves. It's time for the headlines from the Primetime News team. We'll see you on the other side of the break with Jayantha Karunaratne, President, National Chamber of Exporters.
Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali on TV1.
India becomes the fourth country to successfully land a spacecraft on the moon.
तालियों की गड़गड़ाहट से सुनते हैं कि हम लैंड।
Tense situation in Parliament. MPs Nalin Bandara and Vasanta Yapa Bandara removed from chamber. Mujibur Rahman expresses concern over planned attempts to create a crisis in the country. Army accepts state-of-the-art military communications vehicles from China worth $6.2 billion. Where is the health minister? Women's activist group heads to the health ministry. Sea turtle carcasses on Lankan shores. Investigation underway.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali on TV1.
And welcome back to Newsline. I'm in conversation with Mr. Jayantha Karunaratne, President of the National Chamber of Exporters in Sri Lanka. So what a sad situation this is, isn't it, really? Because Sri Lanka, with its less than or nearly 250 million kilos, has been overtaken by that other place that also does tea out in Africa, Kenya. They're doing 500 million. Okay, how do we... It's no point going down the old road of what happened, because we're in it now. We're in this mess or in this abyss of despair. How do we get out of this abyss?
You know, I don't think Sri Lanka can produce 500 million kilos in Sri Lanka because of our land availability, etc.
And the terrain, isn't it?
Terrain, yes.
Because Kenya is quite flat in terms, in relative terms.
Yes, they have land and they have people and things like that. So I think, but still, that 500 million kilos Kenya produce don't bring in the same amount of dollars into Kenya.
There you go. I love that because, you know, Sri Lankans are different.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we bring in more money for these 300 million kilos compared to 500 million of kilos from Kenya.
Are there any Meryl Fernandos and Jayantha Karunaratnes out in Kenya?
They are not good in value addition.
Okay.
They have still not gone into that. You know, that is because they are now in Sri Lanka in 1980s, then the regulators sort of made things available for the facilities for the exporters to do value addition. They understood the business. They thought the bulk shipping is not the way forward. They did a lot of changes here. The systems, customs, all were changed for us to do value addition in Sri Lanka. So Kenya is far behind us. I don't think they are even thinking of doing that kind of thing. You know, we have some kind of a tip system for bringing in packing materials for us. There are various methods for us to, those facilities.
So these are the plus points.
Plus points we had.
Yeah.
So because of that, Sri Lankans are ahead of them. But, it's a matter of time. One day they will, understand what we are doing in Sri Lanka. Like they have started doing tea.
Yes.
So it will come. But I think we have to do better now because our competitor is close to us now.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed. What else, as the President of the National Chamber of Exporters, what more can the government actually do to help ease that export journey?
Many things the government can do in the short run. We are lobbying, against certain things government is trying to bring in. Like, the removal of SVAT is something we are saying we are ready. We have no objection of paying VAT from January next year.
Yeah.
But there has to be a proper system for returns. Now even IMF is saying that Sri Lanka is the only country having this system called SVAT system. So we have to go to the VAT system where we pay VAT and get the refunds. But we said we are ready. We can do that. But you must give a guarantee that returns should come within, say, 30 days or 45 days.
Yes, it must work both ways.
Both ways.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that guarantee, we are not in favor of that. Because, I know some companies are waiting for VAT returns since 2015.
Oh.
They haven't got their money. So, if we have that system, again, introduced from January next year, we will all have serious liquidity issue. So we are lobbying. We are not against VAT, but please bring in, but have a proper systems for VAT returns, also on time. Because it's easy for us also. So those are things, the regulators can do to help exporters.
Here you go. We can take this question actually. To what extent has the huge fluctuation in the exchange rate affected exports?
The huge devaluation of rupees helped exporters in the sense, we got a lot of rupees.
Yeah.
But, from 203, it went up to 365, maybe 370 also. The exporters earned a lot of rupees. But at the same time, cost of in borrowings from about 8%, it went up to 32%. So the cost of borrowing went up very high. And also, the tea prices with crop failure went up about 3 times. Before this crop failure, it was average auction price in Sri Lanka was 600 rupees. It went up to about 1,500. So people had to use more money, borrow more money. So they had to spend a lot of money for, borrowing money for, for business. Working. So that is affected all of us. Then from 365, the rupee came down to 290. So then people lost a lot of money again. So what in general, we are not in favor of sharp increases or decreases of rupee.
Do you believe that Bonafide exporters with the track record and so on should be permitted to keep their foreign exchange maybe out of Sri Lanka?
As per the current regulations, we are asked to bring in money within 180 days. But as far as I know, as per the IMF regulations, I don't think we need to bring money back. We don't need to do that as per the certain agreements Sri Lanka has signed with IMF. But right now, no one can keep money abroad. If you don't bring money, you can't do the business again. You have to bring in every dollar back to the country because to reinvest because you need working capital. Because they are strictly monitoring figures of exports at the customs, at the banks, Inland Revenue, monitoring all export income of each individual exporter. We are given 180 days to bring the money back to the country. So it is, as far as I know, if you don't bring in, you can't do business again. But in tea, you got to pay for tea before you take the delivery within 7 days. So if you don't have money, you can't remain in the business. So we need money. We are pushing our buyers to pay in advances also now. So it's so important because the interest costs are high. You can't borrow. So the people have to bring in money.
How are the American sanctions against Russians and Iranians and so on? How is that affecting us?
No, for tea, it is definitely. But, as far as I know, other businesses are not so much into those two markets. You said Iran and Russia. Iran sanctions is affecting us. But tea is not a banned item. We can export tea to Iran. We have even had discussion with the US Embassy in Sri Lanka. They said you can ship, it's not a banned item. But the problem is the money is blocked by the US banks, intermediary banks in US is blocking that money and checking. Sometimes it comes after 1 week or 10 days. Sometimes it is returned back to the sender also. But they don't send money from Iran, but they use different channels to send money. So it's a bit of a big delay.
Risky for you as the Sri Lankan exporter?
Yes, it's risky. But we have changed our business model with Iran, because there are no banks in Sri Lanka is financing Iran business or Russian business. Even Russian business is not financed.
So you have to use your own money?
We have to use our own money for the,
It's a good job you're able to keep some money outside and deploy it when you need for your working capital.
Yeah, but still you need a lot of working capital. Now Iran, if you to buy tea, you don't get finances. You have to buy, ship it, and then until the buyer pays money, you need money. You have no money to do. Russia is same. No bank in Sri Lanka is financing these two countries. Not only that, even other countries like Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, no banks are,
Have you, I think we might have time for this. Do you have sort of a lobbying going on with the Treasury to correct these anomalies?
We have been about Iran, but I suppose Sri Lanka government cannot do much because it's US sanctions.
Yeah.
So even the government or the banks, they can't take a decision because they have to work with US banks. So they can get blacklisted, then they will not be able to remain in business if they do it. So it's a problem, especially for the tea industry. Because those two are the two biggest markets for Ceylon tea.
So we need some intense effort there.
Yes, it's a lot of other efforts are needed by the tea exporters.
So how proactive is the TBODA?
TBODA is is doing their regulatory work. They are monitoring quality.
Who's in charge of promoting the brand, Ceylon tea?
They have, TBODA has a promotion division, but with the COVID, things have come, sort of not doing that much, and also our markets have changed. The main markets were Russia, we're not doing, Turkey is not doing well. So it has changed. TBODA has a lot of money collected from the exporters for promotion.
What are they doing with it?
They have the deposits.
They're propping up the economy. This is the cess and all that.
Cess is collected by the Treasury, customs, and it's going to the Treasury direct. But the TBODA funds is going to the TBODA.
Right.
They collect that money, and they have a fairly big deposits.
Are you hopeful that they will start a campaign on British television, for example? We had the very famous ads, with the three chimps and who said, drink tea, drink tea. And, I don't want to mention brand name, but that was a very intense campaign. Maybe they should use those funds to up the game.
Yes, though actually they have, hired very professional advertising companies to prepare the advertising materials. So those being done, but it's very slow. With this after 2020, things are very, very slow. And it is not, now that we have other current problems, the crops have come down, people are asking for different things now.
Indeed.
Yes.
But Jayantha Karunaratne, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
And that's the way it was with Jayantha Karunaratne, President of the National Chamber of Exporters, and we spoke about the challenges in exports. It's now time for the Primetime News. Take care, have a great evening as much as you can, and God bless you all.